Okay. I was looking to move to Newcastle. One of my best mates, Steve Jones. I don't know as I say it as if you're gonna fucking know him, but he's a 49 years old. He's just moved up to back up to Newcastle, and yeah, you got the Strand there, haven't you? But how
What?
is it the Strand?
The stand, the comedy club.
The Stand, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
your
yeah,
big
yeah,
one, isn't
yeah.
it?
Oh, it's unreal. It's like when you get on there, it's an absolute treat. It's game changing.
Fair enough. Like, what is the comedy scene like up in Newcastle? Wait, are you my first? No, I've had someone from Jesmond who now lives down south. I think you're my first.
That doesn't count as Newcastle. Posh bastard. Who's that?
Uh, his name was Desmond, so he goes by Desmond from Jesmond.
All right, fair play.
I think
I
the
can't say
one
I've met him.
rhyme.
Fair play though.
Yeah, I know you're a poet comedian, aren't you? So you probably got a bit of a soft spot for the rhymes.
Yeah, I've used a rhyme or two to be fair. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, I do actually plan to go up to New because he's the one who was. He was such a good mate, and he was the one who actually got me into comedy because he said like you like because I was watching comedy, and he was like you're a shit audience member because of your ADHD. You'll, do you know what I couldn't even last watching someone for 5 minutes. I'd have to walk out the room and have a cigarette. But he's the one who got me into comedy, and so I need to come up to Newcastle. I mean, how did you get into the comedy?
Starting comedy. So I actually started doing poetry first as like serious poetry, political, off with their heads, anti-Tory, that sort of crack. Um, and I'd been doing that for about a year, and there's only so many times you can write political violence without it sounding like, Ari, you've said that, what's next? So I started writing whimsical, daft poems, a poem about like nurturing a lamb to fuck off Carol Vorderman, a
Uh,
poem about riding someone's dad like a rodeo bull, like, stupid shit, right?
Yeehaw! Yeah,
And I found I was going to these poetry gigs and I was getting like good laughs, good response, and I was really enjoying the fact that I went from um, silence for 3 minutes and then applause at the end, depending on how it went, to like actually being aware of how it's going in the moment. I deliver a line, I get a laugh, or I don't. That became a lot more exciting.
okay.
So I decided to sign up for the stand, which is like the biggest and best night in Newcastle. It gets
Newcastle's
like,
Mecca.
yeah, it's like 300 people when it sells out, and it often does. And like they're up for it. They're like a good audience. So you can only sign up for like 4 days a year. So in the June, I send an email and they get back to us in August or something like this. And it kind of dawned on us like how intimidating going from these like poetry open mics in pubs, 30 people, half of them are grandmas, to like 300 people. So I did like there's a night called Long Live in Newcastle, which is like the weekly open mic for comedy. And to be honest, it's just the same as doing the
Yeah,
poetry pubs. It's only comedians. There's no actual audience members. It's the room's like in a basement. There's a huge fan in the back, so you can't even hear what you're saying. It's like it's set up to fail, but it makes your skin thick, and I think that's the point. So about a year into poetry, I'd been enjoying kind of writing the segues between poems. I think that's something I did that other poets didn't. Even if my poem was serious, I'd kind of link them with a few punchlines. And I
okay.
really enjoyed writing that. And then I turned, one segue into a 5 minute bit. And I was like, okay, this is comedy now. So my first ever comedy gig, like I didn't use any poetry whatsoever. Like I wanted to do it sort of properly, like do stand up for the sake of stand up. And I did that for a while. My first routine I did was all about eating worms. So, I came on stage and just had this like, I was like really loud when I started. I mean, I'm quite loud anyway, but like overemphasized. I'm just eating worms, and I'm like screaming this and but I've wrote some punchlines and people seem to enjoy it, and I just got hooked. And I ended up for the first year just trying to take a concept and write like full fives out of it.
Mm.
And like really like stretch things as far as I had like 5 minutes where I pretended the entire audience was goths. I had a
Goths.
10 minutes where yeah, like where I would like, yeah, exactly. Well, no, intermitted my I had like one liners based around goths, and then in between I would go night, and like kind of I acted it that the premise was I kind of went on stage and I was like, it's such an honor to be here at the annual Whitby Goth Gathering 2024 night, and then just told jokes as if I was addressing a room full of goths, and like some audiences adored it. They were like, "What the fuck's going on? This is brilliant!" And some people you could just see on their faces they had no clue what I was trying to do with it. So
I think that's absolutely brilliant because it changes the night up. It's
yeah,
not complete alternative comedy where it's so far afield, but it's sort of like in that sweet spot a little bit. Like
yeah.
it's like a
Because
breath of fresh
ultimately it's
air.
observational comedy because it is. I've just observed goth culture and I've taken my observations, and then it was like pretty one-linery almost, like I'd
Okay.
wrote it in sort of ways, but I was just doing one-liners about goths, but I dressed it up in this like
Can you give me an example?
fake audience. You
Can you
what,
give me an
sorry?
example? One line of goth.
Mate, it's been like a year and a half since I've done it.
Do you know what? Goths
I had
loved
this like
COVID.
stupid.
Goths loved COVID because there was a lot of coughing. That was so shit. That was so
Yeah, that
shit.
was literally one of the lines. It
Oh,
was
was
all goths
it?
have COVID.
Goth room.
Yeah, man, that was it. I
Yes.
would like do that line, and I used to pretend I was like emerging from a coffin like that one. It was like so stupid, man.
Um, I don't know. What do goths listen to when they are doing their nails? Rolling Stones, Paint It Black. That was shit. Okay, that was awful. Okay, okay. Got the juices
You
flowing
can even do
now.
it if you want. It's yours. It's yours. You can have it.
Yeah, well, I'm doing my goth set in Essex on Saturday now, aren't I? Fucking hell, like. So, is there a big goth scene in Newcastle, or
Well, like I don't. There's not a huge one, to be fair. There's a place outside. There's like our like shopping centre, Eldon Square. There's like a square of grass, and over the years, it's been known as the hippie green and the goth green, and it's where like all the alt kids go when they're like 14 to drink their cider and all this shit, do
yeah?
piercings on each other under moonlight, all that sort of crap. And so, like, if you wanted to see a goth, that's maybe where you'd go if you wanted to see like some sort of cultural safari. But there's not a massive scene. But I ended up, I think what the inspiration of writing that routine was really early. I think I was only 5 months into gigging poetry. I'd not done comedy yet. My friend from school, I've known them since like four or something. She's in like a goth pop duo, right? Should move to Bristol. They call themselves Bled because she only wears the color red, and the other act, Leo, only wore the color blue, and they were like really, it was like art pop. And she'd moved back to Newcastle. They wanted to put a gig on. They didn't know who to ask for support, so they asked me as a poet to do. I was 5 months in. I'd done like 10 gigs, 10 minute slots here and there. I did like a 40-minute poetry set
Yeah.
to this like room full of goths. It was surreal, but they all loved it. They were like all over it. So I'd went, and it was like a crucial moment for me in terms of like getting confidence in myself, my material, like willingness to do a longer set and maybe like plan some longer form bits. But then also at the end of this, I'll be like walking through town, and there was just like six select goths throughout Newcastle where they'd see us and they'd go, "Oh, it's the poet," and I'd be like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, Reach, you're okay." So that was it. So I think I ended up writing that bit, thinking I'd get booked by this band again, and I'd have all this goth material that I could do to goths, but it never happened that way. They did book us again, but one was for like a Valentine's show, so I did like dating specific material, and that was a goth catwalk. That was fucking wild. That was
Goth catwalk.
like I'm a poet opening up for a fashion catwalk in the
Brilliant.
green. I've never really had a rider before out in the green room. They've got like a barber offering free haircuts and all this sort of thing. So I'm getting like fresh trim before I go and all this sort of stuff. It was quite weird. Like it's good crack. It was nice. All them like wearing like dog kennels as hats and like
Brilliant. Yeah.
like I don't know goth fashion well, but it's quite extreme.
I was like, I used to be a what when we was kid. How old are you?
27.
33. So we're roughly saying I was a skateboarder back in the day. So I was into my rock.
Right.
I tried to paint my nails black a couple of times, and but I've just never sort of like conformed to non-conformity.
I hear that. It's too specific.
Yeah,
It's like you're going from one like preordained thing to another. Where I think it's much easier to just some days I'm gonna wear trackies and other days I'm gonna wear paisley, and I'm kind of fine with that, you know.
yeah, literally, yeah. Just not being part of it, not being part of anything. Like, So how do you sort of find your like inspiration to stuff to like do your poetry and do your comedy about being an observationist comic? Like, when do the juices flow the most?
Um, oh, that's a good question. I mean, I would say a lot of my friends in comedy are quite serious about writing every day
Mm.
and writing around kind of lived experiences. Like that's quite common where they talk about, their kids or their wife or their,
Yeah,
kind of normal stuff, right? And I don't really touch that sort of material at all. Like, I don't share any personal details on stage. Like, it's all made up or like distance like from me. In terms of inspirational, how I write, I'm definitely a very hot and cold writer.
so
Like I could go a full month without writing a single joke, and then it's usually the three places would be walking on the bus or in the shower.
yeah,
I'll get a line that comes like the first line is always the best punchline. It's always like just fully formed. I don't need to try. It's there, and then I'll spend the next afternoon or evening or maybe next few days, depending, kind of fleshing it out. Going, okay, I've got this like standout line. What can I associate with that? Um, am I going to make a narrative out of this, and am I going to make it like story based, or am I just going to kind of put a collection of jokes together that thematically make sense around this? Like, how can I segue in and out of existing material? So I would say that's probably how I approach it. So it'll be, yeah, a month of not writing, and then I'm in the shower and I come up with a stupid, for a long time. I'm not doing it in a little while, but I've got this big routine about savory vapes,
mm,
where the question is why is there no savory vapes? And it's so fun just choosing a savory flavor. Like you can go to Tesco's and you can walk down any aisle you want, and you can like point at things and go, okay, would this be funny as a vape? Like, why is
right,
ham
okay.
funnier than cheese? I don't know.
I was literally
And
about
so
to
you
say
go to the
cheese is the go-to. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
well,
Breeze a banger,
yeah, and then
apples.
and then
Yeah,
that, and you think about it, and you're like, imagine if there was a vape on your cheese board at Christmas, Brie, Stilton, Smoky, and then there you go, you've got like a little joke. It's part
jeez,
of the
that
routine, like.
smoky. I did fucking do
Yeah,
any
yeah,
vaping
yeah,
ever.
exactly, exactly. That's the idea. Like,
That's cool. I mean, yeah, I mean, when you do something like that, you sort of got, you could expand that, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, literally on that alone.
it's the beauty of it because it's just like I've kind of thought of a niche. Like everyone knows what a vape is.
Yeah.
Like most people, you're vaping right now. People get that, right?
I vape in between cigarettes.
Yeah, yeah. Top yourself up,
Yeah.
and then so it's like something that like I haven't describe anything to the audience. They know exactly where I'm coming from.
Mm.
And then all these vape flavors are like ridiculous. Pina colada, mad blue, all like strawberry and kiwi. And I'm thinking like, why is there no savory vapes? And
Yeah.
so, and then I just like find out, okay, well, what savory flavors are funny? And then kind of where do you go further with it? Like, I can say like, I've really only tried this once because it's one of them. I put it away for ages, and I'm like, no, I can make it bigger. I can make it bigger. So if
Yeah.
I go to a posh city, I've got a joke where I went to the corner shop and asked for a vape pen, and he says, no, 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 there's no vape pens. Yeah, they call them vape quills, and then like and
Yeah.
so that you can go that way with it, or like I can say, "Oh, my mom's trying to lose weight at the minute, so she's on the Ryvita vapes,"
Yeah.
and then which is like nonsensical because there's no calories in a vape, and that's kind of what the
Yeah.
or like I'm trying to give up the savory vapes. The nicotine patch is just a slice of ham, like
Yeah.
just stupid shit like this, and you can go like super far with it, and
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, like Harry Potter's, what do you call it, like the Bertie box of beans, earwax, and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, you sort of created your own, yeah, like farcical world where you can then open to unlimited opportunities.
That's hopefully I would like to write like that. I would like to. start with a concept or a punchline I like, and then just continue developing it. I think when you talk to other comedians and then they're saying they're going on stage and they're like, "Oh, I've not wrote this bit yet," and like young me was like, "You not wrote it? Why the fuck are you on stage doing it? What like it should
I
be a
always
script. It
think
should be perfect."
I think that's a cop out. That's always a
Yeah.
cop out, 100%. And I'm the same with. So one of my biggest pet peeves is okay. I'm gonna need to word this fucking correctly. I've got nothing against disabled comedians. Okay, I'm throwing it out there, but I hate it when people list their disabilities as their introduction. Do it. You can
Okay.
do it. You do it on the second verse, no problem. You know, I'm autistic. I'm ADHD. I'm have this, but have your open as fucking powerful. I think don't list your disabilities as the open because you're setting yourself up to say if you don't find me as funny, it's because of this reason.
You think? Okay.
Like, like every single comedian in South seems to say, "Oh, I'm an autistic. This." But it's like, well,
Yeah.
you're creating a barrier now where it's okay. You might not find this funny because of this.
Right, okay.
If you see what I mean.
I'm, I'm not sure if I say it as a barrier, but I would say like start on a joke. And I think if you want to talk about them topics, then obviously an individual is within the power to do that, and there can be some amazing material come from that.
One
But like
hundred percent. But I don't
have
like it when it's their
natural,
first
I
line.
don't know if like listening's helpful. Like even you're talking about them listing it. I mean, like if you write comedy, you know what a rule of three is. Like
Yeah.
have the third thing as something funny. As long as it's a joke, I don't really mind. I mean, yeah, I don't think there's anything other than punching down. I don't think there's anything anyone can really say that I'm against. I think, but I do think if it's a widely covered topic, it needs to be shit hot. So I think like with that sort of thing, like it's not even that I don't really see it as an issue someone coming out and talking about them things immediately. But I've seen a lot of people do that. So you need to make sure that your version's really good.
Yeah.
Because if it's not really good, then it's like, oh well, I've seen this before, that's how I feel about that type of thing.
Oh, I agree with that. Like that's why I'll never do stuff like dating apps, ex girlfriend, things like that. Because do you know what I mean? The juice is absolutely squeezed out of that. And when it comes to
Yeah.
punching down, I personally I believe there's no such thing as punching down, but you need to be aware of the persona you give off on stage. So, like, I
Okay.
would say, like, I write, racist jokes. I'll write trans jokes. I'll never say them, but I'll give them to my black mate. I'll give them to my trans mate. I'll be like, oh, I just thought of this.
Yeah, yeah,
See if
yeah.
it's got leg room. Because I would say, with in comedy, no one has said to you, right, you have to go on stage and say this. If you've chose to go say that, you need to die on your sword. You need to stand by what you've said. And if, like me, I'm a
Yeah.
5'11", I mean, I'm a 6 foot white guy. If I go up there and do racist jokes, I need to be prepared for the consequences. No one's saying I can't say it, but I need to be prepared for everyone to be like, no, you're a bellend.
Yeah, I don't. I definitely don't come across the point of view of like um almost like blind loyalty to a liberal ideal. Like I think within friendship groups, like anything goes. Like if your mates are comfortable, then that's your friendship group, of course. I think for me, the idea is you've got to consider what you're saying publicly and what ideas maybe you convey to audiences that have are like undecided and they might take the wrong thing from your opinion. But because as much as like you might think you're not responsible as a comedian, you're there for 5 minutes to laugh. Like people do go and act on things you say. There is as a spokesperson to a live and public audience, like there is somewhat of a responsibility of what message you're trying to convey.
I
But
get
I
them.
also think more importantly, I would say that all topics are fair game if you're a good joke writer. But
Mm.
I think some people get the idea of okay, this joke would work with my friend. This joke if would work if I was a certain background. I think I can do it. And then they go out and it's just not well written, and then they just sound like a dickhead.
Oh,
And then they don't understand why it's failing. And then that's when it becomes this like, oh, cancel culture,
yeah,
which doesn't
completely.
exist. You look at someone like Finn Taylor, like I've watched what he does online. I've not seen him live. I'm a fan, and he's despicable, right? There's no one safe from his topics, his jokes. He'll say things that are like morally corrupt, but he does it in such a way, and he does it where unless he's double bluffing and he's pulling the wool over my eyes, I'm quite certain it's character comedy. Like it's well, not character, but a very removed persona from
Yeah.
his actual self. And like as a comedian, I'm aware of that. As a fan of the art, I know he's doing it at the highest level. But if I was not comedy savvy and he was less comedy savvy, if I was just a random audience member listening to an open mic person and someone comes out and makes like a joke about a trans person, you would understand why like it went badly.
Oh,
Because if the joke's not good
completely.
and the audience isn't prepared for what persona is, then
Mm.
yeah, you
Well,
kind of like deserve what comes because you've not thought about it either, sort of thing.
well, I would say you need to earn your stripes before you become edgy. You need to learn the craft. There's nothing worse than a shit comedian trying to do shock value. There's nothing worse. You come across as a
Horrible.
Bennett. But I said,
And it's
but
what
no one
most
can.
open mics are.
But even at that stage, like you need to start write what you want to write about, talk about what you want to talk about. But I emphasize my initial point. You need to be aware of the persona you're giving off. You can say what you want, but you need to be able to prepare for the outcome that is going to come that way. If you go up there and you do a trans joke and it is a shit joke, it's not well written, it's saturated, and it comes across as hate, you need to be prepared to look like a prick.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
touch it. I do not touch it. I don't. For me, the juice is never worth the squeeze. There's so many other topics that you can find humor from, so don't touch them. Like it's not worth it for me.
Well, I think that's the thing is it's just like I mean everyone involved in this way well, maybe I'm presuming here, but we're all doing it for fun ultimately, right? Maybe there's one or two people that have a weird of idea of what it means. Maybe it's ego, maybe it's status. But I mean, look at the open mic and beginner level, you're not getting ego or status really. And if you are, your delusion's going to form from whatever you're doing, you know.
Yeah,
But I
there's
think
easy
ultimately we're all
gratitude in
doing
your
this for
life.
fun. You what? Sorry.
There's easy gratitude in your life if you're getting a big head at an open mic circuit. Like
Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. There's, buy some flowers for your nana. You can be happy for other reasons. But it's one of those things of topically, like if we're all doing it for fun, like why aren't you being inventive? Because like I think it's boring like going through a shopping list. I mean I'm saying that after I've just told you me savory babe spits me going through a shopping list. So
no,
there's
but I just weird enough. I've never. I love that topic. I've never ever heard a comedian do vapes, and because obviously there's fucking multiple stupid fucking sweet flavors. Like I think I've just had pineapple. I'm now back on menthol. Like,
yeah,
but there
yeah,
is no
yeah.
sense. That is an absolute. Okay, I'm not going to float your ego too much. To me, that is a stroke of creative genius. Like,
Oh, well, thank you.
how is there fucking this many fucking comedians out there, and you've hit a topic that I've never fucking heard of? That is brilliant.
Well, I think I'm well, I mean I appreciate the compliment, I really do. I think I, any sort of joke you want to make, I think if you get the formula of like, does most of the room know this pre-existing thing? And am I using this thing as the opposite as its intended use? Then you're going to get a good joke out of that, I think. So, everyone knows what a vape is. Everyone knows they're all sweet. The opposite is savory. Follow through, like write a joke about that. I think
I mean, you've really got the head guy. Would someone? I don't know why I've gone dark on it. Could someone in a wheelchair have WD-40 vape? Like, I don't know. I just like, just any. You can see that you can now put to anybody's now life situation.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, the joke kind of ends with and another thing in terms of writing actually is when I said I come up with things in the shower, on the bus, walking. That's the initial idea, and I love to then just go to friends and like non-comedy friends, just be pals, and tell them this is my thing and like what do you think? So I came up with savory vape. I had three punchlines. I told my friend, and she told her boyfriend because she thought it was funny. And then her boyfriend texts me and goes, "Oh, you know when you're eating your Sunday dinner and you're too full, you can't eat anymore, but you just want to keep eating. Imagine if you finish your Sunday dinner and then you just moved on to Sunday dinner vape. And I'm thinking, that's genius. That's
Yeah.
hilarious. I'm not going to steal his joke. That's not mine. But that gave me the idea of, okay, savory vape replacing a meal. Okay, for whatever reason you're not eating, but you're going to use that as the meal.
Mm.
And then so the closer I do for the routine is, and by the way, I'm speaking to you just as my normal self. Like when I'm on stage, I'm a
Oh,
lot more like
oh yeah, yeah,
I'm
I was,
selling it as a character, super weird, wide-eyed, and like
yeah.
jittery. And so like maybe if I paraphrase jokes, they won't have
No,
the same
it's those,
effect.
I do my jokes when I do say reference on my jokes on it. I do it in the most monotone fucking voice in the world.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
But the idea is the closer is like I'm bigging up savory vapes, and I'm going. I think they should sell savory vapes at the hospital because you know when you're having a surgery and they tell you not to eat breakfast. I'm switching to gaseous form, uh, and then everyone in the hospital's on the savory vapes. The lobby smells of sausages. The X-ray smells of scrambled eggs. The stroke ward smells of toast, and then that's like the
But, oh, I like
you
that.
know
I like that. That smells of toast. Fucking brilliant. That's a great fucking power three. I mean, could I don't know, solar panelled vapes, but they'd be shit for the goths.
yeah because they never leave the house.
Yeah, they don't only come out of darkness. Like, honestly, like, you've created a little fucking alternate fucking bit there. I love that. But one thing I like that you did when you said your mate's boyfriend texted you the joke. I absolutely detest joke thieves so much that when not
Yeah.
even on stage, not even on stage, if I'm telling my mate a joke in the pub, I will say, as he knows I'm a comedian, look, this isn't my joke.
Yeah, of course. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like I heard this
I love
joke.
that with friends when I've seen so much comedy, and my friends are talking about a topic, and I'll go, "Oh, I know a comic that's got a great bit on this," and
Yeah.
then I'll badly do it, and I'll go, "You should go and see them. You'll love it." But on stage, absolutely never. I mean, I think the only thing would be if you meet other comedians with the purpose to have like a writing afternoon, and they'll suggest a topper,
But that's
and you
different.
go, "Oh, do you mind if I use that?" And they go, "Yes, of course." That's fine. But when me friend's boyfriend texts us with a bit, it would be like embarrassing for me to just go on stage and use that, like because like
No, I
writing's like on
disagree.
the gate.
Unless he's a
Yeah,
comedian who uses that bit, because half the material I wrote was at the beginning of my career was stuff I've just chatted with mates about and joked. Like one of my mates, I'll give an example. This once again, my mate told me this joke, and I've used it in my bit ever since. One of my
right.
mates is like, massive, like 28 stone, 29 stone. He's a fireman, but he can't get up the ladder anymore. So they now call him a bungalow specialist.
That's unreal.
Like, my mate told me that, like, because he is the fireman. He was like, oh, everyone now at work takes the piss. They call me that, and I was like, I love that. That needs the world needs to hear this. That is funny.
Yeah,
But if he was a
I think
comedian, I'd
I
say,
think
look, no, brilliant. That's all you, man.
yeah, I think really the difference is kind of um having the conversation, saying, "Do you mind if I use this on stage?" You know, I think if you go around life maybe just like picking up things, then and especially if you're close to someone and you know like that's their idea. Just I mean, I have okay, so the bit I'm working on currently is and I've since learned it is already slightly an internet thing. I thought I'd been more original, but whatever. A while ago, GB News, whatever, it's a news broadcaster. It's much more right wing than I am. It's something I want to write a joke about. And so the idea is GB News have created a new channel for children, GBBs.
Mm.
So I think it's I found people using the phrase GBBs online since coming up with it. Guess it's parallel thought, but I go well into it, and I've started like bastardizing existing TV shows and making them right wing. It's
Okay.
kind of so I go through a list of like what may be on TV, but then I've turned it to be in line with what I believe a GB News reporter I have.
What? So like,
Like
what would you say? Would you mean other news channels or like TV shows like Dora the Explorer, Teletubbies? How they become right wing?
so I have like I'm listing the TV shows and I've used the Explorer. So the second one I do is oh, and there's another show called Dora the Exploring Your Sexuality is Wrong. Uh, because that's what GB News would have you believe. And it's imagining this picture in your mind of this like little girl going,
Yeah, no.
don't date inside your gender or something like,
So
whatever.
I've
And then
so I got one for the Teletubbies. They had to get rid of who was the green Teletubby real quick? Oh, the
no
left one.
clue.
Where it says Titsy Witsy Dinky La La Goebbels.
Nice, yeah. Yeah, that sort of thing. Like, yeah. Next week on the Tweenies, they've got Mussolini and shit like that, like
So the Tweenies is Mussolini. Yeah, fucking how when you tried no, you won that one. I was trying to chuck fucking Mao in, but I can't. Lilo and no, you won that one. I mean, yeah, that's absolutely brilliant. One of thinking of GB News, I was trying to think of one along the lines because they always stick an ad in the middle that's like 5 minutes long about gold.
right? I've never actually watched it, so yeah.
I've watched it for creative stuff. Oh wait, is my swastika showing? No, so I'll put the foundation on, making sure it's always got to be on the right arm, never the left. No, okay. I don't know whose joke this was either, but I heard it the other day, and I love it. And I did it driving down the road the other day. Everyone at the moment sticking up the England flags,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
always
yeah.
go, "Oh, for fuck's sake, they've hung it up. They've hung it up upside down again." It's so shit, but some
Surreal. That's
it's
great, man.
it's so shit. But do you sometimes feel guilty using low hanging fruit in your set?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not, because if you've had a really clever idea, that's well and good. But if you've got like 2 minutes to fill
Mm.
and you've got one punchline, then it doesn't matter how amazing your idea is.
Yeah,
Like if you're getting one laugh in 2 minutes, that's not good enough. So I think you want to contrast your jokes that you're proud of with jokes that keep the energy. Like momentum's so important.
Mm.
And I think it's really fun. I think it's also kind of keep the audience guessing, where if you do only stupid jokes, the audience thinks you're shit.
Mm.
If you do only clever jokes, the audience might think you're pretentious and up
Yeah.
yourself. You do a bit of both, you're kind of showing like, all right, I've got a unique perspective, but I'm also like not too up my own arse to not have like be
What's your,
daft and a bit
what's your
silly.
lowest hanging fruit you have?
I don't know. I don't know
I,
where I'd go with that.
I'll do mine first. I have a gay marriage bit. So it's a misdirection. So I after I've done the one bit, I always go, look, gonna be honest with everyone, I'm against gay marriage. They hate you. You feel the room seize up, boil. Love it, love it. I'll tell you for why. When a man and woman get married, a woman's workload increases by 6 hours, a man's decreases by an hour. That's why gay marriage is unfair. They have more time in the day. That's why they always look good, go gym, great hair. It's not fair. Actually, if I sucked enough dick, I might be able to get myself a girlfriend. You know,
Yeah,
lovely
yeah,
misdirection
okay.
joke. But I always open it with, and this feels like cheating. Um, Before I do this joke, is anyone in the room gay? Always,
Right.
yes. Oh, thanks for coming out.
Oh, okay, okay.
It's so bad. It's so easy. And I just feel like it's cheating a little bit.
No, I don't think it is, because like you're setting up the premise, and like I don't think there's any comic like that has 100% original, never seen before material. Like
Hmm.
people are always going to follow, like, you've got your wordplay there, you've got a bit of the audience interaction in the room, like feels more part of it because you've spoke to them. That's like always useful. So I don't feel like it is low hanging or hack, because it's not your full routine.
No.
It's an element of the great art show. Yeah, I don't see an issue with that. And maybe I use a lot more. I don't particularly think of material as being low hanging or anything. Maybe I use loads and I'm unaware of it. I don't, I don't really know. I don't think I'm doing anything crazy technical. I'm not like one of these comedians that like dissect their bits in front of people or out like that. Like it's yeah.
I mean, I've got so many. Like, my girlfriend cheated on me. Ironically, her middle name was Faithful. Like, it's like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
lived
yeah.
in Malaysia. I do a Sharia law bit. All mine's mostly misdirection. So you think I'm going to be
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
offensive, but I'm never actually. Like Sharia law. If you're caught with a Muslim girl behind closed doors, you either got to marry him or you go in prison. I always fucked with the door open. You know, like easy shit. But it's like,
Okay.
never go up to a Muslim girl, say I'm going to give you the pork. Like, it's yeah. So Mr. No, but it's good that buying any has got low hanging in. I'm trying to divert that because that one was awful. So what's your worst moment you've had on stage, looking back?
Question. Oh, 100%. My worst gig. Because the thing is, I think comedy gigs, a death feels awful. Obviously, no one loves a death, but it's kind of like expected. You're with other comics. It's happened to everyone. They like know what's going on. You have a pint, and it's on to your next gig, right?
Yes.
But I doing poetry, like the culture is different. Where I think anyone doing stand up like wants the next gig. They want to go from open mic to open spot to paid middle to paid opener. Like they mightn't be dreaming of live at the Apollo or arena tours, but they want to do, they want to get better. They want to feel that progression.
Yeah.
I think I'm speaking for most people there.
Yeah. 100%.
Whereas in poetry, that just doesn't exist, right? A lot of people are really happy to come to an open mic and spend 3 minutes just giving you their feelings, their opinions. It might be really good, it might not be so good, but they don't really have aspiration to particularly take it further.
But
Um,
how could they take it further as a poet? This might just be being ignorant. Like, is there
like
like?
in the same sense of like working through, open spot, middle, opener, closer. It
But is
doesn't
that in
really exist in
poetry?
poetry,
Do they have
but
that?
not in the sense of so well defined.
Hmm.
But there are ticketed poetry events where you'll have featured sets and headline sets.
Okay,
And
I
so
didn't know that.
usually you can like most open mics are literally 3 5 minutes, but then some open mics will have like a 20-minute slot at the end, or some nights will literally only be paid poets. And like I mean, I'm at the so this year I self-published the book and I've released it, right? I'd only really gigged in Newcastle for 2 years. I've put all my work together and I took it on tour, 10 different cities.
Hmm.
And so I'm getting in touch with like poetry nights, and some of them are coming back going, well, it's an open mic. We don't pay anyone. We don't have any featured. Like if you're traveling, it's probably not worth your time.
Yeah.
And other ones are coming back going, yeah, we'll have one headline slot, and it's like one opponent is a fee of £120, which is more than I'd be getting in comedy. And like
Hmm.
so at this stage, and so the yeah, it's interesting like that. So I kind of have worked through poetry. I've headlined a bunch of gigs, and I've got some lush gigs coming up, like especially later in this year. But it's a different progression. But what I found really early was because I wanted to do longer sets, it wasn't really about like progression of money or fame. That wasn't. I wanted longer sets. I wanted to play with time.
Hone your
Wanted to
skill.
do
Like,
yeah, like I wanted to have more than one idea. You've got one poem and you're done. I wanted to do a serious one and a silly one and one proud of Newcastle, and I wanted to make that like make sense as a three. So that was my goal, and I wasn't getting that from the local poetry scene. But then, as I say, I did 40 minutes opening for this goth pop duo,
hmm.
and from that point. I've got loads of friends, like loads of my mates are musicians. I like live music. That's how I spend my weekend. If I'm not working or doing something else, I'll go to a gig, right?
Yeah.
And so I got offered to open for bands, and I ended up doing music festivals as well, like local ones. Now crazy, and it was amazing. It was so fun. I'm a poet. I rock up. I've got a book. I read half an hour. I did this gig in Stockton where it was literally out. The audience was like 80% 50 plus bald men who looked like they would not enjoy my material, and then they adopted
The
like
madness clientele, pretty much. Ska music, like people.
the what? Sorry.
Like the stereotypical ska band like fan.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Like
yeah.
bald, plus 50. All the mopeds are parked outside. Bomber jackets.
They look like flag shaggers. They look like EDL. Like that's
Oh,
my prejudice speaking, right? Like this is. I've made an assumption there that's definitely unfair based on the results.
but
But I'm also
comedy
think,
is very stereotypical. It is very.
yeah, yeah, you kind of have to view the world stereotypically, and as much as like prejudice is bad when you use it to discriminate against people. But if someone looks violent, you'd rather be wrong and safe than. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Oh,
someone looks like they're going to punch you.
yeah.
Keep a
If I walk
distance.
past a
There
group
might
of
be a cuddly bear,
teenagers,
but keep a distance.
if I see a group of teenagers and they look thuggishly walking to me, I don't care if I look like a bigot across the other side of the road and safe. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes, like, yeah, call me that. I don't mind. I'd rather be safe than sorry, to be honest.
And it's not bigoted because you're not like making their life harder and you're not insulting them. You're just going, right, I didn't fancy this. I didn't fancy a confrontation right now. I'm making a very different, a very slight change. But yeah. Anyway, besides the point, I went out there thinking that haters. I did material about the king having bum cancer and getting fingered by a commoner. Which these guys looked like potential royalists and they adored it, they loved it. So brilliant. I subverted like that and it was amazing. On the contrary, which was the point you asked about and I'm getting to, was I'd been getting booked for all these music gigs and I got booked to support a jazz act. um the gig was in between Christmas and New Year, unticketed, in the middle of town, and the first 11 men that came in, three of them were kicked out before anyone else came in. It
Brilliant.
was like people being dickheads. And so I'm asked to go on stage. No one introduces us. There's no like changing of the lights. The music doesn't go down. There's no compare. They're just like, all right, go on stage. I get up, say, hello, I'm Cooper Gobshay from Newcastle. Before I get to say a joke, before I get to say a poem, these men start going, taxi! Call this man a taxi!
Oh.
Right? There's a room of, it's busy, 100 people. It was like a proper jazz club, and everyone talks through me set, and I do 20 minutes to like the worst reception I have ever had. That's comfortably the worst gig I have ever had. It felt awful. But I did it. I didn't. You hear stories of people going, oh, I was booked for a 10 and I did 7 because I was uncomfortable. I knew what I was in for, and I was like, I'm doing my full fucking thing, and at least I can take that away with us. Because that was the worst gig I've ever done. That was horrible. That was really, and there was no way of winning them. I could have
No,
said exactly
some
what they
rooms are
wanted
flogging
to
a dead
hear.
horse. Some rooms are
Yeah,
flogging.
but I've said my name and they're demanding me to leave. Like,
Yeah.
this isn't going to work.
You've given me a bit of comedic inspiration just now. And if you've ever done it before, never let me know. When you say being fingered by a commoner, okay,
Right?
so I imagine, like, where's the hand? The hand. So the commoner fingers with the big finger, posh people finger with the little finger. And
That's
that's how you
great.
show your social status in life, what finger you finger somebody by. So as you elevate in
Yeah,
like
yeah,
social
yeah.
status, the finger changes.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah.
That's great.
I mean, that's fine. It's nothing along your bit, is it? That was nothing along your material, was it? Cool. But that's
No,
like
no,
you
no,
find
no.
inspiration. I've not wrote comedy in about a week. Like, but yeah, I need to actually put that on my little notes all of a sudden. Fingering commoners. Put on anything there. But that's it. It's weird where you get like, you're in like, your insight from, and I think talking to other creative people gets the juices flowing at its finest.
Always. Yeah.
Like, or also like, oh, you say yours in the shower. Mine's 3 o'clock in the morning. And being a poet, do you
Should
write it
be
all out
sleeping.
word for word, or do you just do, premise, punchline, and let the flow?
It depends what I'm writing. I don't have like a set method. If I'm writing a poem, sometimes it'll come out all at once, unedited, done. Sometimes it'll be series of lines that I like turn into a mosaic. Sometimes I'll perform it and change it and perform it and change it. Sometimes it'll have loads of rhymes, sometimes it won't. Like I've not got really a set way of writing it. With comedy, um, I tend to write my thoughts as I think them, so it will be in the form of a script the first time I write it out. But that's just to get like the feeling on paper. And like if I'm actually performing it, ideally I'm cutting words out because it's like too wordy anyway, and I
Yeah,
want just the setup punch. I want it to be like that. So in terms of like the initial thought, the initial writing process, I feel like if I try to edit as I write, then I stop writing altogether. Whereas if I just go as it's conversational, it's thought wise, write that down, and then maybe come back to it and go, all right, there's a better word for that. There's one word instead of three there. That's the actual funny bit. So I'll swap the setup and the punchline. You know, sort of take
Okay.
that approach with it.
I've got an interesting question, and I've never asked this before. In 88
Mm.
episodes, I've never asked this question. Is a comedian's job more important to get the most laughs or the most entertainment out of the audience?
It's really interesting. And
Shall I give you a little pre-example? So, obviously,
yeah,
you've got one-liner comedians. Bang, 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 bang. Laugh, 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 laugh. But if you look at Dave Chappelle's latest work, half the time he's just telling a story, but he's holding
yeah,
court for everyone.
yeah.
What job's more important?
I don't think it's fair to give an answer to say one's more important. I think you've got to consider the the act's experience to know whether like actually to know what they've chosen to do out of the two.
Okay.
So you could have someone that's a natural storyteller but bad at writing jokes, and they'll be like in the start of their career, and they might actually get like theoretically worse as their joke writing gets better, but it becomes less natural. And then they need to
Mm.
break through that, and eventually they'll bring the two together. Like that could be an example. You know, you've got someone
Yeah.
that's great at stories in the pub, their friends tell them to do stand up, their first five's amazing. They
Yeah.
get to write the second five, it's shite because it's manufactured, but then their next five combines the elements of both, and now they're a great act. That's one example.
Then it gets
You
better.
can think about you can think about like certain acts being, for example, um, Marilyn Robertson,
Okay.
the comedian from Shetland,
Yeah.
where I saw a 5 minute clip of hers online, and it was like a comedy club stand up set, punch punch punch, really good. And it was good enough that when I was at the Fringe the other week, I went and bought a ticket to her show,
Mm.
and then I got there, and like what she did was storytelling. It was really theatrical. I would say like as comedy hours go, it was pretty light on jokes. Like I was expecting more laughter, and there was like full routines that like the point was not to be funny. She was storytelling,
Mm.
but she always held attention. She always had the room
Hell cool.
captivated.
Yeah.
And so I don't think it's to say one's more important than the other. I think it's important that the act knows what they're trying to do.
Mm.
I think in country, if you want to talk about a one-liner comedian, I've heard, not through experience, I've heard that one-liner comedians are the most like popular doing 10-minute slots. But as soon as it's longer than 10 minutes,
Mm.
they can't keep that energy up. The audience just stops caring.
Okay, I can feel that.
So
Well, I
there's
think they're the
someone
best
like,
for social media because people have got that 15-second
oh,
attention span.
100%, yeah, because you can clip it.
Yeah.
But you've got someone like, what's he called? Tim Vine.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that what he's called? I think he is. And he's a one-liner comedian. Um, but when he's doing like his hour shows, he'll put like songs and act outs in,
Do
and
the
he puts
breakup.
them in. Yeah, he doesn't even put them in because he believes that that's his strength. He
Mm.
puts them in because
A
it
buffer.
means the stuff he's really good at pops out more.
Mm.
And so I think, and then so if I'm speaking from my own personal kind of like what I'm doing when I'm on stage, I do poetry gigs where I've been booked to do poetry. I do comedy gigs where I've been booked to do comedy. And sometimes I do what I want. Sometimes I'll do half stand up at a poetry gig. Sometimes I'll do maybe never as much poetry at comedy gigs, but maybe I'll do a third. And what I notice is that at a comedy gig, as I'm reading my poem, I'm not getting the laughs per minute I would get if I was doing stand up.
Mm.
And like, there's maybe a little bit of fear involved where I'm thinking, oh, really, that first five, I really had them and I've lost them here. But then when you finish the poem and you deliver the last line, the applause you get,
Mm.
they've enjoyed the whole thing. They haven't necessarily laughed at it, but they've really enjoyed it as entertainment. And so the choice of like, I couldn't go to the stand at Newcastle and do a full poetry set. I couldn't get away with that. But ending on a poem, that kind of sets us out is separate, and the audience clearly are into it.
Okay. So going from, because as you still do both, going from, expecting that, trying to conjure that laugh every 15, 20 seconds to going to poetry where, you don't get a laugh till the end. Does that sort of play in your head a little bit? Like, are they liking this? I'm getting no instant feedback as I go along.
Yeah, I mean, the, the yes, there's an element of fear. I think there's an element of stubbornness where when I started comedy, I wanted to do it just as comedy to prove I could do both.
Mm.
Like I didn't want to be the guy that took the material he was already doing and just did it in front of a different audience.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to write material suitable to the art. But then I'm 2 years in and I'm getting booked for both.
Mm.
And it's a lot of work to write fresh material for both. So if I can write a poem that's also funny, then great, I can perform it in two environments. Amazing. Now, funny poems are hard. I can write a really intricate rhyme, meaningful, political poem. Like I'm good at that, right? But they don't want to hear that in the comedy club. So
Can you
because
do a
there's not
comedy
even a
poem
punchline
without
in
it rhyming?
it. Yeah, of course you could, yeah. Your poems don't need to rhyme at all. I think even calling something a poem is like bollocks. I'm not like like an arty-farty sort of poet. I think if you're reading it off a piece of paper, it's a poem. I think when people are like
Yeah.
really strict about form, and some people believe that poems need to rhyme, and then you've got like middle class arty people that think poems that do rhyme are like that's not art, that's childish, that's a nursery rhyme. I think everyone's up their own arse. I think, hey, write something, if it's entertaining, you've made some entertainment. You
Mm.
can call it a routine, you can call it a short story, you can call it a poem. I don't really care. If the audience has enjoyed it and I've enjoyed making it, then that's
Yeah.
really all I'm interested
As long
in.
as that entertained. How would you say completely changing the topic on that one? How would you say doing a poet solo man on stage to comedy? How has your crowd work involved?
I don't do crowd work much at
No.
all. It's something that I've shied away from. I think maybe the I think maybe the poetry side sort of kept his an additional level of fear because some poetry audiences really don't want to be spoken to. Like comedy audiences are like generally can be high energy, a bit of bravado. Sometimes they want to
Up for
speak
it.
to you. Some poetry audiences like I'll do a bit of stand up in my set. Something that I've done at comedy gigs and I know is good, right? It's my competition bit. I know I'm
Yeah.
good, whatever. It dies at the poetry gig. They don't want to laugh.
Yeah.
And then so I'll just do something else. I don't need that. Whereas when I come to the comedy gigs, I'm so used to like reading from my little script, whether it's actually written down or whether it's just mental.
Mm.
I do shy away from crowd work. I've tried it. I thought I was like okay for a first attempt, but ultimately bad overall, as you would expect.
Mm.
I've, it's not something I feel like I need right now. I don't think some acts ever need it. I think it's something the more I gig, it will just naturally happen because you do get people just shout and
Yeah.
and, and whatever. And I've currently, arbitrary number, let's say I've been heckled 15 times in my career,
Mm.
just on the spot. I've had 10 actual good comebacks. I've had three where I've not lost momentum, but it wasn't a laugh. And
Mm.
I've had two where, all right, I've shot myself in the foot.
Yeah.
That ratio is fine with me.
Mm.
It's only going to get better. I've got confidence there.
What I'm annoyed, I am, and I will brag about this. I am the best in the world, number one in the world at Captain Hindsight.
Yeah. Okay. Will you get the comeback half an hour later?
Yeah, I am the best. I always want to go back up to him after. And be like, no, your mum's the slag. Oh, thank you. I'm done now.
Yeah.
Cheers. On the drive home, it's always on the drive home. It's like, should I turn around? Like, really go down a bit. But yeah. Then I know some comedians who all they do is crowd work and their actual written material is it's pretty dog shit. But I think social media has a lot to blame for crowd work and like heckling. Like if you look at something like Paul Smith, Matt Rife, George
Yeah.
Knightley, some of the greatest crowd workers, people go to this now to comedy gigs thinking it's okay to interrupt the comedian mid performance. Now, if he asks you a
It's creating a
question,
culture.
fair game. But to shout out, you wouldn't do it in any other art form.
Yeah, it's it's one of those things where if you saw a heckler at a music gig, the audience would think the heckler's a dickhead,
Yeah.
and the act isn't expected. to have a retort that can just move on. Whereas at a comedy, some audience members are like the fact someone's heckled, and then you look shit if you don't have a good answer. It feels like unfair. It feels almost pitted against you. However, that is the truth. The culture exists. You've got to be conscious that it might happen. I mean, I gigged in Liverpool. I did hot water this last Sunday, right? The new
Oh yeah.
acts thing, 10 minutes. And I spent the train journey up knowing that Liverpool beat Newcastle the week before. And I'm
Ah,
thinking, oh, some cunt's going to shout something here. And I was on the train, like, what football joke can I make funny? And like on the train, like, kind of almost preemptive thinking of what the heck I was going to be. But like, I don't do laddie comedy. And like, I couldn't think of a football
but
comeback.
also it's persona as well. It could have been the greatest football joke. You don't give off the persona as a football lad.
No, not
So
at
no matter how
all.
good
Not
it
at all.
is, like I was saying, being aware of who you are on stage, no matter how good the joke is, like it would have landed better if you know what I mean. Like you had three teeth missing and like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
had your
yeah,
Stone
yeah.
Island jacket on. You know what I mean? Like would have banged, but
So, and then I spent the whole train journey thinking of it, didn't think of it. So, fuck when I come up with something good in the moment when I couldn't think of something good in 50 minutes. And then I got there, no one said anything. And I was like, all that unnecessary stress, I could have just been preparing me actual material. And I think that's the key, right? Is just prepare your actual, if your material's good, you're allowed a blip anyway. Like we've all done new act or like new material nights where you've got 3 minutes of new material, you've sandwiched it with the good stuff, and then with your new material, half of it's really good, half of it needs work. When you say something that doesn't get a laugh, you continue anyway, and you've not lost your audience because your next line's good. And so I feel like almost approach a heckle in the same way, where all right, you might have lost that one interaction, but like if you've got a good joke coming up, doesn't matter. You've got them back immediately. You've got
well,
a good joke.
one thing I learned at the beginning because I hadn't properly delivered stuff correctly. I learned when a joke's shit, address it there and then. Like, oh fuck me, you didn't like that one, did you? Like, or I've got another cop out, low hanging fruit. I always go, okay, well, I'm gonna name that joke Israel because it just bombed. Like,
Okay, yeah, yeah.
it's a cop out. I mean, this was I mean, I know it's still ongoing, but it's like when it was actually proper mad in news. So, but yeah, I just address it. So, I will end it with this question I always love to ask. You've been doing comedy for 2 years now. If someone came up to you, never done comedy before, and was sort of like, look, what advice would you give me? What advice would you give him? And you can't say just do it.
Can't say just do it. I
No,
mean that is the advice, but never
I
mind.
know. But after I've heard
I
that
mean, the
60
first thing I would
times, I have to yeah, ask it differently.
um I would ask them how much. I would ask them how much live comedy they've seen. I think there's a lot of people that watch it on the TV and think they want to try it, and they've never actually been to like a comedy night. So I would say like if you want to, yeah, okay. First question: do you have 5 minutes? If they say yes, then it is a case of finding the night and giving it a go. If they say no, then it's like okay, well we're going to need to write it. How are you going to write it? Start writing.
Yeah.
Just what have you done today? Keep a journal. Like a lot of comedians, especially early on, just talk about what they've done. All right, maybe you don't want to be that type of comedian. Talk, say you've seen something on the TV, you've watched Lord of the Rings, and you've got a unique perspective about a face Frodo pulls. Write that down,
He
and then
does make a
maybe
lot of
throw
cum
in.
faces.
Yeah, well, that's quite an irreverent
Every
comedian,
time he
isn't it?
gets stabbed, it does make that noise, doesn't he?
Little exhale, man.
He loves that, yeah.
Those roommates know what they're doing, man. I wish I seen them on Tinder. No, yeah, but I would say like you have to write. You have to have your five first. So, well, if you've not started writing, then you need to start writing and just watch comedy. Like actually watch comedy because a lot of people, I don't know. I speak to me ma about it, right? My mom's not doesn't know much about comedy, and
Mm.
I'll do a routine, and then she'll like reference Mrs. Brown's Boys or Peter Kay,
Oh
which are
yeah.
like famous, right? And it's like that's not me saying either are good or bad. I'll kind of leave it there, but it's not what I'm doing.
Hmm.
And I'll do something that I know is really funny. I'll say it to my mum and she'll be deadpan and she just won't understand it. And that's not useful.
I,
So,
100. I think sitcom writing is the one of the easiest writings in the world.
yeah,
Like
do you think?
I watch like at the moment I'm doing Big Bang Theory. I know it's dog shit, but I'm not watching it. It's just background noise.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you hear the jokes coming a mile off. And it's so puns and do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like and same with Mrs. Brown Boys. My mum's the same. She loves that show. And it's like I foul to see the humour and also fuck laughing track audience.
Oh, I know, I know.
Mm.
When
That's
and
what
it's like you see Big Bang Theory when they're recording it,
it's
and
so bad.
without the laugh track, and they're just stood there like,
Yeah.
it's the most cringe wavy.
It's so bad.
It's horrible. It's uncomfortable,
Yeah. That's why I give respect to Scrubs back in the day. Scrubs
right?
had no laughing background audience. And it just kept like if you look, every single one of them sitcoms had a laughing track. Someone quote me if I'm wrong here. The only one I can think of that never did was Scrubs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's
I
one.
can't say I've seen it. I don't watch much sitcom. It's like, to be honest, like in the last 2 years, I've seen a lot of comedy because I'm gigging and you're going to
Yeah.
see loads of other acts. But for like 5 or 10 years, I didn't watch comedy at all.
Mm.
When I was like in my teens, I used to love it. I watched everything, live at the Apollo, and it was the panel shows that I was into. That was the format I was really into. So, never mind the Buzzcocks. I must have rewatched everything on YouTube like 4 times over when I was like 13. Like Simon Amstel era, that's like the best comedy in my opinion.
See, I never got into
Um,
Buzzcocks, but I loved QI.
Oh, mate, yeah, QI is so good because they always got great guests on,
Yeah.
and then it's this brilliant balance of like genius minds in the moment, just spitballing and being hilarious. But then also it is interesting. It's informative. It's like a modernized documentary. You can go on BBC Four and you can learn about something, but it's in the most dry format. Whereas with this, you've got comedians, but you're getting facts. It's like I love it. I'm a big fan.
Yeah. Absolutely love that. Go on, I'll end it there, dude, because yeah, I've had your time on enough. I've kept you long enough. Fuck me, that's how I'm gonna say that. You've been brilliant, man. Absolutely thanks for coming on, dude.
Well, thank you, man. Yeah, thank you.
Fine, Joe. Thank you ever so much for watching. Cheers.